devotion there. We're back. And we're back for just a couple of minutes before we wrap up here. I know that whenever there's any problems here, the enemy is trying to stop the message from going forward. So please, thank you very much for not going and for coming back and joining us here. So yes, the question was just asked whether or not Moses saw himself as being a substitute or an intercessor for the people that had sinned against God. And what Moses says here is he says, blot me out. He didn't say blot everyone out. He said, blot me out. It seems as if the condition, and I guess, again, this is not a hill to die on, it wasn't that the condition was that it was me or them. It seems to be if them, also then me. If you're going to do it to them, you're going to have to do it to me as well. So I do believe that this was a case where Moses was an intercessor for the people, and I don't think it's a bad thing to think that maybe he was a replacement. Jesus was our replacement, and Jesus is seen as a type of well, he's not a type. Moses was a type. Jesus is a reality. Jesus is the real deal. So I do believe that whatever was happening with Moses is something that reflects what Jesus was like to us. It says, Moses asked God himself to bear the sins of the people. And eventually, in Jesus, he does that. How do we wrap our minds around this amazing truth? What does it tell us about God's love for fallen humanity? What it tells us is that God loves us in ways that we cannot possibly imagine. Even though people died, and I believe that the people who died an eternal death, a death without hope. They will come up in the second resurrection because they would have died as a result of what they did. So God doesn't joke around. I think that there's too many people that believe that God, I can wait until my deathbed and give my life to God. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to live a life of debauchery, but then when it comes to my deathbed, I'll say, Lord, save me, and he'll save me. That's how the devil wants you to think. And I think a lot of people that were sinning against God at this point in time, they understood that there was going to be consequences because they knew what they were doing. Because it wasn't just a matter of bowing down and saying Allah Salim or whatever. It wasn't a case of doing it. They were engaging in orgies. They were engaging in human sacrifices. They were engaging in activities that was obviously, unequivocally wrong. That's what made it so wrong, was that they knew they were doing wrong. And sometimes, the Bible tells us there's pleasure to sin. There's something about sin that will cause people to say, wow, this is bad.